Hi everyone, welcome to the Speakeasy Spotlight. I am your host Ashley Ha, and today we're here to talk about Speakeasy's upcoming production of Swept Away. It is Jeremy Johnson.
Hello.
Hi Jeremy, how are you?
I'm well, how are you?
I'm good. We're in the Speakeasy offices again. It's getting hot again.
A little bit, yeah.
Which is a little worrisome because we had like a moment there where we were okay.
It'll be over soon enough, don't worry.
Heading into the fall and the winter time, and then
Yeah.
it'll be parkas and sweaters.
You know it.
Everything. But we're here to talk about Swept Away, which is definitely not set in like the summer or not the cold necessarily.
It's a little of everything.
It's a little of everything.
All kinds of
weather. You get all the elements, but I'll introduce you a little bit. So Jeremy is thrilled to return to Speakeasy, where he appeared in The Inheritance and The Last Sunday in June. A director, actor, writer, and teacher, he has worked in Boston theater for over 25 years, directing at the Lyric Stage Company, Gloucester Stage, Argos Productions, and more. A proud Emerson alum, Jeremy also earned his master's from Roosevelt University in Chicago and worked for over a decade at Stage Source, the Greater Boston Theater Alliance. And he currently teaches and directs at the Windsor School. So that's kind of all about you.
All about me.
All excited to get to know all our directors this season and really see kind of, I mean, you do a lot. You're a multi-hyphenate kind of creative.
You kind of have to be in Boston.
Definitely, 100%. I mean, I'm also an actor, creative, like, media person. Like, there's just endless possibilities. And so we can chat about all of that. But before we get to necessarily Swept Away, I just want to talk about, like, when did you discover theater and how did you start directing?
I started directing in my basement and in the backyard with my brother and all of the neighborhood kids. I would bring them into a room and I would boss them all around and tell them what they needed to do, and drove everyone crazy. But around 8 years old, we moved to New Jersey, and my mom took me to a community theater, and I went to see a production of The Magician's Nephew, which was one of the books of the Chronicles of Narnia, which was a book I was obsessed with. And I saw all of these kids acting on the stage, and it looked really fun. And I was like, I think I could do that, but I was really nervous. So she went with me, and we auditioned together, and we got into a show. And for the next 10 years until I went to college, I basically lived at that theater, and I acted, I did set design, I built sets, I did lights, I did stage managing, I did everything I possibly could. I had a great mentor there who taught me a ton about theater history and all different kinds of shows and how to approach a show. So it was a great sort of informal education. And then I came up here to go to Emerson and created sort of my own major. There was not a directing major at Emerson. So I went under theater studies and basically took classes in every area of theater that I could, so that I could be as well-rounded as possible. And then sort of started working in the Boston theater scene after that, directing and acting and teaching, and have been doing that ever since.
Yeah, wow, creating your own major, that's big. I mean, you're not just like, oh, I'm going to pigeonhole myself into one thing. You're like, I can do all of it.
Well, I mean, you need to know how the set designer thinks. You need to know how the lighting designer thinks, what the stage manager is doing. It's been really helpful for me to know sort of a little bit about every area of the theater, so I know how to talk to people.
Yeah, and again, that helps with directing and kind of seeing the bigger picture instead of just the one moment on the stage.
Absolutely.
So without spoiling, how would you describe Swept Away to someone who's never heard of it?
So I've been trying to think about this without giving it away. And I would say Swept Away is an adventure story crossed with a ghost story. But it's also really sort of a tale of redemption and forgiveness. And that's sort of all I think I will say without like going too much further. The rest you'll have to see for yourself how that all pans out. But.
Yeah, I mean, this is like, I guess on terms of scale, it's kind of the biggest show of our season. We're bringing, this show that had a very short-lived run on Broadway to Boston.
Yeah.
And so it's kind of maybe one of the first times after post-Broadway getting to see that on stage, which is exciting.
It's exciting to be the first production after New York. I'm very excited about
And so
that.
can you take us through the process of like how and when you decided to direct Swept Away?
Dawn reached out to me sort of the end of their last season and sort of threw some titles at me, and this one jumped out at me right away. I was familiar with the Avett Brothers a little bit. My own brother is a gigantic Avett Brothers fan, and we talked to one another through music a lot. So sort of, I think like a lot of people, you're able to say deeper things through the music that you send to other people. And so he had sent me a song called "Murder in the City," which appears in the show actually. And I remember being blown away by the lyrics, by the music, by the poetry of it, by the honesty of it. And it got me into the band myself. So when I saw that that Speakeasy was doing a show by this band, I was immediately in. I was like, sign me up. I'm on board. Whatever you need me to do, I will do this show 100%. So
yeah.
Yeah.
Had you kind of seen the whole thing with it on Broadway?
I'd sort of been following it, and I was really interested in going down to see it,
Yeah.
but it unfortunately it closed so quickly that I didn't get a chance to catch it before it left. So I'm really excited that we're getting this second chance to look at it so quickly after the Broadway production.
Yeah, I think you said redemption arc or something like that.
Yes, a little bit.
It's like, we're going to bring it to a broader audience, and I mean, one where it's closer maybe to where it takes place too, which is really, really cool. So why this show now?
Oh, why this show now? I'd say sort of a couple reasons jumped out at me. This is, again, keeping it vague, this is a story about people who are feeling lost and hopeless and literally at sea in the face of huge obstacles. And there are moments when they feel out of control and powerless and are trying to figure out how they are going to survive, how they're going to get through, how they're going to keep faith and hope so that they can keep going. And I know for me, at least lately, I've been waking up and reading the news and feeling at lost and at sea and hopeless and wondering how I'm going to get through, how we're going to get through a lot of the things that are happening around us right now. There's a line near the end of the play. There's a lyric that says, "We're all in this together," which keeps resonating for me in a huge way. For us as a country, right? It feels really, really relevant in this moment. The other big thing is this is a play where men sing and speak to each other in a really open and vulnerable way. They talk about what they're afraid of, what they love, what they hope, what they dream, and are extremely vulnerable with each other, whether it be a brother or a friend or a crewmate. And, we don't see that level of emotional intimacy between men a lot. And I even read an article the other day that said something along the lines of most American men do not have a close male friend that they can talk to openly and intimately. And I think, again, we can look around and we can see what the result of not having that can be, right? So a lot of those things are sort of resonating for me. I can't wait to kind of bring those discussions into the rehearsal room and kind of get the actors' take on that.
Yeah, I mean, having not, experienced the show or seeing it, like, I can totally see how that is a very unconventional way maybe of having people interact with each other.
Yeah.
And something that we really need to see. And like I like the lyric you pulled, "We're all in this together."
Yeah.
It's not just from High School Musical.
No. We are all in the same boat, literally, in this show.
Yes, all in the same boat on this journey together.
Yeah.
And what can the audience expect from the music side of the show? I know you've talked a little bit about the Avett Brothers, but kind of what is the grandness of all of this?
I think there's a cool opportunity here in that I think I hope we're gonna get two sort of distinct audiences. You're gonna get your musical theater audience who is gonna come in, with all of their knowledge about musical theater and have some of that kind of turned on its head
Yeah.
with the way that this music is used and incorporated and the type of music that's being used. And I hope we're going to get Avett Brothers fans as well, who may know nothing about theater or nothing about the story. And I think it's going to be really exciting for them to see how music that they already know and love has been recontextualized, how it's been put into the mouths of specific characters to either say specific things that they already are feeling or hear songs in a new way that they hadn't thought about. So I think the combination of those two groups in the audience is going to be really, really cool. So I'm looking forward to that.
I did not realize that this was like a jukebox musical.
It is, and it feels weird to use that term.
Yeah.
And it absolutely is that, but I feel like sometimes that term can have like not the best connotations.
100%.
And the way that this has been crafted is so intelligent and so smart. That the way that the characters weave in and out of song, it feels really well supported and makes sense in terms of the dramaturgy and the characters. So it feels organic in a way that not every jukebox musical does, I think.
Yeah, I totally thought it was like an original musical where like this, you know, our artist kind of like wrote a bunch of songs.
They only wrote one new original song for the show. So everything else is from an existing album.
That's amazing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
cool.
And again, like I've heard so much chatter about like fans of the show wanting to come and see it and fans of the Avett Brothers and stuff like that. It's like they're out there. It's
They
like,
are
come
out
on,
there.
come to Boston.
I hope they come.
And can you talk about like the local connection that we have like here in Massachusetts to the show?
Yeah, so the play actually starts in New Bedford on the South Shore. And I think most people know that Massachusetts was a sort of giant in the whaling industry in the mid-1800s. We had giant ports in both New Bedford and Nantucket. And there's an amazing whaling museum in New Bedford that I went down and visited this summer. It's fantastic. Highly recommend it. Go check it out. There's a scaled down model of a whaling ship inside the building, which you can walk through, which is incredible. And sort of a lot of stories about the lives of these people. And so you've got a really strong connection there. Right across from the museum is a little church, and it's called the Seaman's Bethel. And it's really famous for its inclusion in Herman Melville's Moby Dick, which this play also draws a lot of inspiration from. And so I went over there and walked through it. It's a non-denominational chapel. And sailors would go in there before they would leave on these, 1 year, 2 year, 3 year journeys, which were extremely dangerous, and sort of connect there and ask for protection when they would go out on to these really dangerous, sailing missions. And there's a little pew right on the back left-hand side that Herman Melville sat in before he went out on a sailing ship. So when I visited, I went and I made sure I sat down in it and asked him to send us some good mojo for the show. So hopefully we've got Herman Melville's stamp of approval for our production.
Let's hope. Yeah, and that's a great thing to do is like maybe you can go to the museum before you come see the show.
Yeah, check it out.
Or I mean vice versa, whatever works and whatever, scheduling and stuff. But it's like it's great. Like all the history
huge
is kind
resources, which is great.
It's kind of right in, I guess, Boston's like backyard.
Absolutely. It's like an hour away.
Yeah. And kind of funny question. If you were stranded on a boat with only 3 people, who would they be and why?
God, I don't know how to answer this question. There's the one answer where I'm like, I would bring my partner and my dog Toby, and that would probably be it, and we would probably be fine. And then there's like the smart person answer, which I'm trying to think of what the smart person answer is.
Take your time. Take your time.
But, I'm like, I guess I would bring a bunch of other directors with me to help me talk through the show. One of them being Michael Mayer, who directed the New York production. But like 2 other directors that I love are Julie Taymor and Ivo Van Hove, who's kind of this crazy avant-garde director. And I think the four of us sitting in a boat talking about Swept Away, I would love to hear what they have to say about it.
Yeah, I
What
love
they
that
would do with
answer.
it.
That's like not one that I was like thinking about, but I love it.
It's like, where do I go with this one?
I mean, you can kind of go wherever you want. And so as a director, like what excites you the most about bringing this piece from the page to the stage?
There's this really interesting sort of dichotomy in this play between sort of the epicness of this story, right? Along the lines of a Moby Dick, you have this story about, you know, humankind in the face of the awesomeness of nature and the power of nature and being humbled by that, right? And sort of bringing that, the storm and the ship and the, you know, the grand scale of this, combined with this really small human story between these four people, right? This sort of survival story. And sort of the contrast of those two things. I'm really excited to see how we bring that to the stage and how we sort of share that story with the audience.
Yeah,
right?
I think visually this is like the one I'm like excited
I'm
for.
excited too.
I mean, we're doing it in the bigger space too.
We
so
are,
it's kind of
yeah. So
this grand show.
it could be really big. We're gonna see.
And so, what inspires you, and what kind of keeps your creative flame going?
I see as much as I possibly can. I'm at the theater probably once a week around Boston. I see everything I possibly can, from the national tours that come through to like the weird little experimental things. I'm constantly trying to go see stuff because I'm waiting for that moment of inspiration in that show, right? Everything I go to teaches me something. Sometimes it's something incredible. Sometimes it's what not to do, to be honest.
We need all of it.
But I, you know, none of it is a waste of time. None of it, all of it teaches me something. So, but then, the other big thing, and it goes so well with this show, is being out in nature is hugely inspirational to me. You know, I love going to the beach. I love going hiking, being in the mountains, being by the ocean. Again, just sort of the hugeness of that, right? And being in front of that. I think I'll be bringing a lot of that, I think, into our discussions in the rehearsal room, right? For people that struggle with, as I do sometimes, the idea of religion, I think it's a way to think about faith and hope and something bigger than yourself that doesn't have to be tied to something particularly religious. You know, this show does talk about faith, you know, in lots of different ways, and characters talk about God, whatever God means, you know, and I think it's open enough that it can allow anyone in.
Yeah,
that's my hope.
Yes, I really appreciate you talking about that aspect, and I think it is like you know, it's personal to every person on this earth.
We all have a different way to approach faith.
Yeah,
right?
no, it's like whether, you know, it's a specific religion or in a person or in a thing, like it doesn't matter. It's like we're all welcome here.
Yeah.
It can all be interpreted in a new way.
We're all in this together.
Yeah. Just like do the and so talking about that, like as a director as well, like how do you kind of shape your directing style over the years? Because I think for young directors, you kind of look at it, you're like, okay, I'm directing a show, what do I do? And as someone who's a veteran of that, how did you kind of develop that over time and maybe bring it to be where you are today, you know, directing all the time?
It takes trying lots of different styles and lots of different things. I love theatricality. I love taking advantage of the fact that we are on stage and doing something that we can't do in any other medium, right? So for me, if you want to be super literal, I think film is a great medium for that. I love that we can create worlds, and I love that we can transform those worlds really, really quickly, sort of in how and what we show to the audience and how we enlist their help. So a lot of the time I tend to strip back as much as possible and sort of ask what are the least amount of things that we need to tell this story and still be able to tell it, you know. I love when things transform into other things on stage. I love when people transform into other people or things on stage. I love when we can take advantage of the fact that we're enlisting the audience's help and their imagination in creating the world that we're in, creating the people that are around us. I mean, they are coming in and they're willing to do the work, and they can bring a lot to the play without us having to spoon feed them or give them every single prop and set piece. And you know, if we choose the right things, they'll fill in the rest. And again, that's a conversation I love to have with designers in collaboration. I love to have in collaboration with the actors. You know, how can we lean into the fact that we are on stage and in a theater, use this tool to our advantage. So I sort of always feel like I'm thinking about that as I approach pieces, and this feels like a really interesting one to do that with, right?
Yeah.
How do we get this epic feel without necessarily having a giant, you know, multi-million-dollar ship on the stage?
Yeah.
You know, how else can we attack this? So,
yeah, I like what you said about when you strip all of it back and you just look at the story, like what is there?
What's there?
Because I think in maybe Broadway theater or just theater in general, we see a lot of times people love like the spectacle of it.
A lot of money on stage.
Yes, they love a lot of money on stage. Things get more and more expensive, but then you look at the story and you're like, I don't know what's happening here.
Do we need all this? I don't know if we need all this.
Yeah, no, exactly. And it's like when we do strip all that back, it's like, is the core of the story still there? And let's make sure that that's the thing that we're emphasizing.
That's coming through.
Because when you take it all away, it's like,
you still
have to make a compelling performance and a compelling show. So yeah, I love that. It's a good reminder. And so what would you say to aspiring directors who have no idea how to start?
I would say go see everything like I do. See as much as you possibly can. See every show you can. Watch movies. Go to art museums. Listen to music. Get familiar with as many parts of the arts as you can, so that you have places to grab from. You know, that you can, when you're talking to a designer, you can reference a painting that you saw, that you can reference a piece of music. Just sort of build up your own sort of personal library in your brain, so that you have as much available to you as possible. And then, you know, assistant direct for people, see how other people run a room, how they talk to actors, how they talk to designers. And then I think, like a lot of the other directors I've seen in these interviews, is make your own work, you know?
Yeah.
SpeakEasy started because Paul wanted to put on a play, you know, and he got his friends together and he put on a play.
And look where we are now.
And here we are, you know, 24 years later, 25 years later?
30, I don't even know.
I forget.
A lot of years.
A lot of years later, you know, you have this huge, you know, mid-sized theater company. And, you know, having been here for the last 25 years and I've watched a lot of small theater companies that started with a group of people putting on a show, you know, that are now, you know, huge, healthy, thriving theater companies in this scene. So it can happen. It can still happen. So, you know, make that work and grab your friends and make it happen.
Yeah. And what do you hope audiences take from Swept Away?
I think different people are going to take different things away from it. So I don't want to be too prescriptive, but I do, like we've talked about before, I hope it makes people sort of ask, you know, what is my relationship to my idea of faith, my idea of hope, how I get through life. Is that working? I do think there's a really interesting after theater conversation around, you know, what would you do in this situation? What would you do to survive?
Yeah.
And can you judge these people for the choices that they've made? Can you understand these people for the choices that they've made? And I hope, as heavy as this show can be, that we find some moments of peace and uplift at the end of this show. I hope people leave feeling a sense of that, even though they may have been through the ringer during the course of the show.
Yeah.
I hope they come out on the other side feeling some hope and some redemption.
Yeah. And we need hope.
And we need hope right now.
We need hope. Well, Jeremy, do you have anything else you'd like to say to like the audiences who will be coming to see the show?
I can't wait for them to share with us, and I hope you come, and I hope you enjoy it, and share your thoughts with us afterwards.
Yes.
We can't wait for you to come see it.
Yeah, well, Jeremy, thank you so much for chatting with me
Thank
today.
you, Ashley.
Thank you to everyone listening. Make sure to go see Swept Away in the spring.
In
We're
the
so
spring.
excited.
Come check it out.
Thanks for listening.